viewers, and welcome back to another episode of FitzRupee Cast featuring Dawn of War 2 Retribution. Red-Rupee here calling the shots for you tonight as always. And before we get started, I wanted to remind you guys how to get in touch with me and send me your replays. A lot of folks have been asking me about how to send replays, how can I contact you, that sort of thing. Keep in mind, I always keep my contact up on my main channel page. It's right there, redrupee20@gmail.com in the description. So you can send your replays there with a short description and, you know, just give me a little idea of what's going on before I get into watching it. That always helps a little bit. And then, of course, I have all of my social networking stuff, my Steam group, my Facebook page, my Twitter feed. Stop by those. I update those pretty regularly, let you know when casts go up, make little other tidbits about Dawn of War, 40k, or whatever's going on in the community. I generally try to keep folks up to date, so join those up. And if you ever want to contact me directly, if you join the Elite Mod Playtesting Steam group, which I'll also put a link in the description for, then you can stop by there. Normally I'm lurking about in there, and it's a great place to go hang out and talk to players about Dow anyways. So check those out. That's all the stuff. It's not hard to get a hold of me, that's all. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on in the game today. Two very solid players. As usual, we've got on the blue side, Mr. Blessed Spartan as the Lord of Chaos, the Chaos Lord, big bad man in Terminator armor. Then we've got the slightly more diminutive Apothecary, played by Lindonin, who normally plays Eldar, actually, but today he's going for some Space Marine action. Lindo's known for some very nasty Eldar play, which would be doubly nasty, I feel like, on Outer Reaches, which is where we're at. Outer Reaches, sort of a big arrow map. Everything points up to the center VP from either side. Going straight up here. That leaves both bases very close together. Leaves the central point as kind of a dangerous retreat path cutoff when you're pushing the opponent's base or power farm, that sort of thing. So Apothecary versus Blessed Spartan as the Chaos Lord. Chaos Lord being very aggressive, going straight for the VP and crushing a bunch of stuff as he does so. Of course, a cover stomping kind of guy, immune to suppression and all that fun stuff. Does very nice damage with his ranged bolter right there. And he's just going to keep those tacks locked down right in front of the base, which is great to do because tacks are your kind of speedy cappers. Of course, scouts move quicker and can get out long distances faster, but once tacks actually get to a point, they have their increased cap speed, which is really useful. And all this is going to be is just a losing engagement for Lindo. He needs to either get his Apothecary there, and even with the Apothecary support, yeah, you can see the tacks are already starting to lose that engagement again. So it looks like the tacks are going to have to bail out, trying to get a little distance before they retreat. Note how he does that, too. A lot of players don't manage to do that. They'll get in trouble and just hit retreat. You want to always try to pull out of that melee a little bit before you hit the retreat button and dodge a little of that extra bonus damage they get. Luckily for Spartan, he manages to tag a lone Marine as it went back into the base, so he got a little bit of an advantage there. Going for the double CSM build right now, which is probably very effective. I always, as Space Marine, feel like double Heretics is more troublesome for me than double Chaos Space Marines, but we'll see how this plays out. Lindo's going for upgrading his scouts nice and heavily. He's going to try to, I guess, have those scouts equipped to deal with Heretics on their own so they can really kind of push the map and continue to be the map control presence that they're kind of meant to be. But Lindonin's actually playing a bit more spread out than we normally see Space Marine play. Normally, we see the Apothecary and Space Marines running together with the scouts nearby for support, but Lindo's kind of been going all over the place right now. I guess maybe because he plays Eldar a lot, he's playing a little more like Eldar. Popped a little heal on those scouts so they can come right back out onto the field as soon as they get back to base. A lot of people don't go ahead and consider that they're going to heal a retreating squad. But if you're next to the Apothecary and you're not going to be missing that heal cooldown, go ahead and do it, and that squad will be able to come right back out on the field. It won't have to sit back at base and heal up. Those scouts were at full models, so even though they were at full models, they were down at half HP. They would have had to hang out for like 20 seconds or so really easily if they wanted to sit around at base and get healed back up to full life. Chaos Lord picking up his Harness of Rage. That's an interesting choice. We'll see what goes along with that later on. And Spartan's going for a bit of a gen bash here, not committing his heretics to it though because he's concerned about the tax on this side of the map. He's going to send his heretics over to probably defend his own power farm. However, Lindonin's not getting flamers or any additional upgrades on his tax for the time being. He's going straight for the VP, which again is, I feel like, kind of more typical of Eldar style play. He's going aggressive VPs, kind of map control style stuff. But these heretics are coming up in the retreat path of Lindonin's tactical marines. Apothecary's not in any position to help right now, and down goes one tac to a Doom Blast. They're going to have to retreat through quite a bit more damage. Down goes a second tactical marine. It looks like the last one is going to be able to get out of there, I think. But it's pretty precarious situation for him. Unfortunately for Spartan, he was so busy microing on that side of the map, he missed the fact that his Chaos Lord was kind of standing right in front of a Devastator. VPs are pretty even right now, a 1-0 cap for Blessed, and now everything is neutral, just as I mentioned that. Heretics coming up behind the Devastator squad of Lindonin. And there's not too much here. The Scouts managed to get a shotgun blast just in the nick of time, but they're going to have to get out of there as well. Heretics are pretty beat up. But Lindonin's been so spread out and pushing the far side of the map that his power farm was left super exposed, got the node blown up and decapped. And Spartan's going to start pulling ahead in tech here pretty solidly. Apothecary's now getting the Sanguine Chainsword upgrade, which will make him a bit beefier. I think that will allow him to deal with both the Heretics and the Chaos Lord if he engages either of those one-on-one. Really allow him to kind of be more of a melee force here. But it looks like maybe a gen is going to go down. Yeah, that's probably going down. Spartan's committed to breaking it. Took out that generator, has the power still decapped, and we can see right now that they're actually relatively close in power. Which is odd because Lindonin, I'm pretty sure, has invested a good deal more than Spartan has right now. Dark Halo coming up, and that's kind of the typical combo. Once you see the Harness of Rage get purchased, you'll see that Dark Halo not far behind. It makes him a bit more tanky, and of course it gives him a little energy with every strike. And if we're going to see that, I'd be willing to see the Lightning Claws are going to be coming too, because their attack speed is nice and quick. They do excellent damage, of course, as well. But that attack speed combined with the energy on hit is really effective. And with the energy shield, turns the Chaos Lord into just kind of a big indestructible force. You can waste so much time trying to focus him down, but if he's still getting melee hits, it's going to be very difficult. Anyways, Lindonin's still playing a kind of evasive Space Marine game here. Being a bit too spread out, though, I still think maybe he's just kind of playing a little Eldar style with the Space Marines. Apothecary's getting surrounded by heretics. He's got that Sanguine Chainsword, but he's not going to be able to last too long in the midst of all that melee. And there he goes. He has to fall back after taking some heavy hits. Spartan headed into Tier 2. Lindonin not too far behind. Has his power farm picked back up. So that decap actually not buying that much time for Spartan as far as a tech advantage. VP is still kind of neutral. This map tends to just be a longer game kind of map, simply because of the layout of the VPs. Neither side can really get a solid grasp on the VPs most of the time. You can get a 2-to-1 pretty usually, but since this natural VP is, you can see pretty much within a screen's length of the owning player's base, then it's just difficult to really hold that last natural VP. Anyways, with both players heading into Tier 2, Spartan's got a good deal more requisition, though. And we'll have to see what he brings out. He's going to have plenty of power, could go for a Dreadnought here shortly. Lindo's going to be pretty well off as well. Can probably pop out a Librarian, would be super effective against this double Chaos Space Marine build, especially considering Lindonin already has a Devastator on the field. A Librarian will allow him to do heavy damage to the Chaos Space Marines and use that Devastator in a much more mobile fashion, which is really effective against the Chaos Lord, because you can kind of hunt the Chaos Lord with kind of close-range Devastator volleys and really whittle him down fast. Spartan's instead going for a Blood Crusher. He was close to not having enough power to get himself a Dreadnought. I'm surprised he went for the Blood Crusher instead. We'll see if that works out for him. Lindo's got his Librarian coming up here shortly, and Chaos Space Marines already upgraded with the Marcus Siege over here. The other one is still a Vanilla Squad, but those Siege Bolters are nasty, nasty indeed. Gonna do heavy damage to any of the heavy armor squads of the Space Marines. Lindo didn't get himself a second squad of Scouts or an Assault Space Marine squad, which is a bit uncommon. Normally, you see those kind of upgrades in Tier 1, especially with the Apothecary, you see Assault Space Marines, but I guess he opted for the Dev. He kind of went upgrade heavy, I suppose. He went to get War Gear, he got the Devastator, he got 2 upgrades for his Scouts, so maybe he went for that instead of opting for the Assault Space Marines. Devastator gets picked off by the Blood Crusher. One model goes down there on retreat. And Spartan has pretty much full reign of the map right now with that Blood Crusher. There's really nothing out that can deal with that. Lindo's actually getting himself a Razorback, which I'm not sure is a good choice considering the situation. He does have the Las Cannon Devastator now that he upgraded to help deal with the Blood Crusher, so long as he can do that, he'll be alright. This is a map, though, that's notoriously bad for pathing of vehicles on wheels. So he's going to have to be very careful. All these lanes are very narrow. It's tricky for vehicles to move around in them. So hopefully he's good at microing that Razorback. Bloodletter's coming out onto the field as well right now. Don't see Bloodletters too often these days, because I feel like it's just in Elite mod, Raptors kind of fill the same gap. Bloodletters don't do heavy melee anymore, and Raptors also teleport, and even though they both teleport, Raptors actually suppress on teleport, so I feel like having that option in Tier 1 is just generally more favorable than getting Bloodletters later on. And if you already have Raptors, I think Bloodletters kind of are a redundancy almost at that point. But man, they are tearing up this Apothecary. He's trying to heal up. He managed to take out one of those Bloodletters, but he's about to go down. He needs to heal right away as a second Bloodletter goes down and he falls. Oh my goodness. Blood Crusher putting a lot of pressure on this Razorback. It looks like it might get out of there though. He's hunting it down relentlessly. There are rocket attacks and a las cannon on the field, but they're both retreating, and the Blood Crusher's now charging in on that Razorback. Spartan knows better to chase into the base, though. That las cannon's going to be hopping back right now, and that's not going to be good for anyone, at least on Spartan's side. It's really important to be cognizant of that sort of thing. Like, when you're chasing a vehicle down, you really want that kill, especially when it's so low and you've got a fast thing like the Blood Crusher. But if you had sent that Blood Crusher in, probably would have taken a las cannon shot and gotten obliterated. As it's about to right now, it's in a lot of trouble, but the Tax didn't pursue the shot. Oh my goodness. Malignant Blindness triggered. Spartan making sure Lindo can't see anything, and now getting himself a squad of Raptors. So actually, kind of the opposite situation that I just described, whereas saying Bloodletters might be a bit redundant with Raptors on the field. Spartan already has Raptors and is now, already has Bloodletters and is now purchasing Raptors, so we're going to have to see what the plan is there. I guess, all things considered, Lindo doesn't really have much in the way of melee counters. Like, he has the Librarian and the Apothecary, which are both kind of reasonable melee fighters, but against dedicated melee squads, they tend to get tossed around a bit. Librarian's more of support than being a direct melee counter or brawler. So with Bloodletters, Chaos Lord, and Raptors on the field, I feel like just a Librarian and the Apothecary aren't going to be able to do too much on their own. Bloodletters hanging out, phase shift out after taking some rocket shots there. And Lindonin trying to get this Razorback back into position for some supporting fire. Needs to keep that las cannon safe from what is now 2 jump squads that are going to be on the field to deal with that. Scouts need to be fixing up that Razorback while it's sitting there firing upon the enemy. Bloodletter's teleporting a bit too far back. Veil of Time activated on top of those Devastator squads, and a nice flank, that Blood Crusher coming in from behind the retreat path on that Razorback. Razorback's kind of trapped in there between a bunch of infantry, and it doesn't even look like it's moving out. Bloodletter's harassing the Las Cannon squad. Razorback goes down. Angels of Death gets activated. Looks like the Las Cannon's going to get away, but there's still a big melee in the center. A lot of stuff actually getting beaten up on Spartan's side as he can't really deal much damage with Angels of Death activated. It no longer makes everything invulnerable, but it does put down some serious damage reduction on the Space Marines. I don't remember what the exact numbers are, but the Apothecary fell also to that Blood Crusher. Tax Sergeant goes down. Librarian gets out of there pretty beat up, and all things considered, that was an excellent engagement for Spartan. He eliminated the vehicle, took out the hero, and caused some pretty serious damage to the rest of the army. Now he just needs to get those heretics back out, heal up the Blood Crusher and Bloodletters, and just take the map. Chaos Raptors weren't even really involved too much right there, but that was still a decisive victory for Spartan. 390 to 355 though. VP's still anyone's game. Lindonin's heading to tier 3. But now, I mean, he's got 2 anti-vehicle squads, but still hasn't been able to quite finish off that Blood Crusher. Hopefully going tier 3 is going to be the right choice. After using Angels of Death, we're not going to be seeing Terminators anytime soon, so I guess he's going to be banking on getting a Predator out here shortly, and that'll really help with a Blood Crusher. Spartan actually, other than the Blood Crusher, doesn't really have a dedicated vehicle counter. He was kind of lucky that he came in at the angle he did. The Razorback was stuck up here, and he came in from this back escape route, and that really kind of, I think, caught Lindonin off guard a bit. Heel goes down on the Tax, trying to escape from those Raptors. But there's just a good combined threat of heavy melee damage and heavy range damage with those Chaos Siege Marines, which isn't even the squad that's out here. I'm not sure where the Siege Marines are, but where are they hanging out at? They're back at... oh, here they are on the right side. I feel like Spartan's had a pretty solid grasp on this game so far. I think he needs to pressure the map, pressure the power a little bit more, and keep Lindonin from being able to pump out any serious tier 3. There's going to be a pred as we see right now, but right now he needs to take that power out so we don't see Terminator soon, don't see maybe a second Predator, something, and you know, anything along those lines. You have to keep Space Marines from getting their upgrades and keeping those squads on the field, because eventually it's going to make a big difference. It looks like Spartan's just deciding to get the decap on the power, not take anything completely out. Some heretics got obliterated by something right there. Looks, I would be willing to bet that was a scout grenade. Scared them off a little bit. Oh no, and that Blood Crusher's looking very low. Will those Tacs get off another rocket shot? They do not, as the Chaos Lord knocks them all over the place. Bloodletter's getting a bit brazen, went right in there to finish off that Las Cannon. That is one major advantage that we don't see, that the Bloodletters have, that Raptors do not. We don't see that utilized very often, but you can see this last Las Cannon member went down to Spartan, sending those Bloodletters headlong into the base turrets to get those last couple swings in and finish off the squad. Blood Crusher's looking very low. Lindonin knows that without that Blood Crusher, there's no other anti-vehicle on the field, however, and looks like he's going to push in that Predator to try to probe around and see if he can finish off that Blood Crusher while he has low health and has the opportunity. Blood Crusher's moving in, and that's what you don't want to do, is get it into melee range of that thing. You want to be able to spot it just barely and then kite it around for a while, but now it's homing in on that Predator, getting upgraded with its extra armor right now, so I don't think it should pursue, but yeah, it looks like Spartan knows better. It's going to pull back on a focus down and try to get that Apothecary off the field. It's 389 to 206 right now, and Lindonin's probably going to have to head out here relatively soon. Bloodletter's going in, trying to slow that tank down, but they're already down by 2 members. They abandoned the Apothecary, who's just sitting there. Once again, is he actually capping? Yes, he is. Spartan is kind of... he needs to get all this stuff out here. All of his army's very low, so he can't really deal with too much, and that's allowing Lindonin to kind of get back out onto the field and take some stuff. Up top, we've got Raptors and some Chaos Space Marines trying to harass scouts and Tacs. That should be an easy win for them, so long as they can push them off the field. He wants to make sure he can get a couple model kills before he gives up the chase, though. Otherwise, the Apothecary will, of course, just heal those squads right back up. He needs to focus down this Librarian who's trying to engage him, but instead retreats right there. Were his Raptors low energy? He could have had a jump here shortly and tried to finish those attacks off. But now it's a 2-0 cap against Spartan, which is pretty funny considering the situation. Lindonin has tons of requisition. He could probably get himself maybe an extra attack squad or something like that just to have a little more map presence. Instead, he's going for a Plasma Devastator squad, which I guess will help prevent some decaps of the VPs and stuff around here. And really, I feel like there aren't too many good spots for like a Plasma Dev except kind of here in the middle. You can kind of watch this general area or over here. You can kind of lock down this center area with a little bit of artillery fire, but we'll see how that goes. Plague Marines now on the field. Spartan going to use the combination of Plague Marines and the Blood Crusher, hopefully, to get in and finish off this Predator. I'm not actually sure where is that Blood Crusher. It's just hanging out up top. Blessed Spartan losing track of a couple of his squads. If he had that Blood Crusher here, this Predator would be down. Oh my goodness. A bit of an oversight there. Maybe Spartan had a little bit too much going on. Plague Marines have that Predator down to 40 HP. See if that Blood Crusher had just gotten a single shot off. Oh my goodness. Where is it now? It's chasing down some tanks that must have engaged it. It's looking low health, so those tanks probably got a couple missiles shots off on it. Lindonin still not with much power income, though. Spartan doing a good job of trying to keep that minimal. Managed to take out all the gens except for one, and he's up by about 100 VPs. He needs to keep that advantage going, though, before Lindonin's Tier 3 Space Marine force becomes too much to handle. Spartan looks like he's going to be hanging out in Tier 3. Still hasn't gotten that Iron Halo, or sorry, the Dark Halo on the Chaos Lord, which is surprising, because that's kind of the missing piece to this puzzle right now. He's got the Lightning Claws, he's got the Harness, he doesn't have the Energy Shield. When you get that going, like, the Chaos Lord just takes absurd amounts of damage. He just turns into a sponge, eats all the shots, and with those Power Claws is a really solid source of DPS as well. Spartan still hasn't reinforced his bloodletters, that's kind of funny. Lindonin's been doing a pretty solid job of leading him. He's been tagging bloodletters, tagging Chaos Space Marines, managed to take out quite a few heretics throughout the various battles. It's not much, but that kind of adds up. Keeps Spartan from getting anything more out on the field, but his upkeep is already pretty high. I mean, look, he's only got 144 income right now, so he's really got to be putting this heavy armor to use. That's kind of what the upkeep is working for, is if you've got that big army, you should be causing losses to your enemy. And if he starts taking too many himself, it's going to hurt. Blood Crusher getting very low, letting that Pred get some more shots off. It hits the Malignant Blindness, but doesn't trigger in time to prevent the final Pred shot. And down goes that Blood Crusher. Spartan's pushing in really hard, trying to finish off this Predator. Those Plague Marines getting obliterated, though. There's only 2 left, and now they're suppressed. Taking heavy shots. If those Plague Marines go down, it's going to be really bad for Blessed Spartan right now. It looks like they might be getting out of there. Chaos Lord kind of struggling in the midst of everything as well. And that's going to be expensive to reinforce for Spartan. He's got a Raptor down, he's got 3 Plague Marines down. Lindonin actually only has like a couple squads that are even going to bleed much right now. He's got 1 tack down, he's got 1 Plasma Dev down. Or no, that is all 3, I don't know. I guess I didn't click on that, but that's... So long as he's using that Apothecary effectively. I mean, you can see the disparity right now between the requisition. Blessed Spartan is heading into Tier 3. He might have purchased something behind that. I wasn't paying attention to his requisition before that. Librarian's going to get forced off here. He can't deal with 2 squads on his own. And might actually be in a little bit of trouble here if a couple good melee hits go down. Apothecary needs to heal him up. Oh my goodness. Librarian gets out of there with 12 HP. Very fortunate for Lindonin. If that Librarian went down, it would have been a big detriment to his forces right here. 94 VPs, though. He needs to start taking some VPs. This Predator's been a godsend. Really turned the tide and at least allowed him to hang on at this point in the game. But Spartan needs to finish that thing off, get some solid AV on the field. Uh-oh, and we have Terminators on the field now, so that's the double threat Tier 3, a Laspred and Terminators. Gonna make this very difficult for Spartan to deal with. He did manage to finally take out that Laz though, so I feel like maybe get some vehicles on the field, get a Predator of your own, something like that. You've got tons and tons of anti-infantry. Oh my goodness, and Spartan's just gonna feed some more Plague Marines to the cause here. I don't think, yeah, he's not gonna get that Predator. He just wants it too bad, and I think it's causing him to play a little sloppy and lose more than he needs to. He's gonna have to reinforce 3 Plague Marines again here. And that Predator is still on the field, still getting repaired, still constantly killing models, taking shots at the army here. Apothecary trying to dodge around a little bit here. Oh, Blood Crushers, 4 HP before that burst of assault cannon stops. I thought they were going down, and Blessed Spartan might have been in a bad position. Stern Guard's coming in right here, reinforcing the whole squad on the field as well. Very, very crazy useful. I'm not sure if that's entirely intended or not. I'm not sure if Kael'thas is intending to work on that or not, but I feel like having a free reinforce on your Space Marines, I mean not free, but relatively cheap, and getting an upgrade out of it on the field is really powerful. Anyways, as we saw, Heretics went down right there, and Spartan suddenly looks like he's struggling to stay in this game. Lindonin's kind of taking control of the field with the Terminators and the Laspred. And you can see, yeah, Spartan's just saying, why won't that tank just die? And unfortunately, that's just kind of what Lindonin's been playing on. He's just been playing defensively around the tank. Spartan's been losing Plague Marines after Plague Marines. Now even has Meltas on his Raptors to try to help with that anti-vehicle effort. But it's 268 to 83, and Spartan still has plenty of time to get back in this. Lindonin, however, still sitting on a pile of requisition, is leading Spartan pretty bad. Spartan hasn't been able to bring a new squad onto the field since the Plague Marines, since he's been spending so much requisition reinforcing them. He's got so much power. He could have a vehicle, he could have a tank of his own on the field, he could have, he's got plenty of red, he could have his own Chaos Terminators at this point if he so chose. He's just really, I think he needs to be mitigating the damage he's taking here a bit better. He needs to be stopping that constant bleed. The Predators annihilating Bloodletters left and right, taking out Plague Marines. Like pretty much every shot of that las cannon with Blessed Spartan's current army composition is going to be taking something out. So he does need to take out that tank, but he just needs to do it in a way that's been a little more efficient than what he's done so far. Oh my goodness, Raptors almost going down right there. Oh, and they do go down. Big win for Lindonin, taking out another squad right here. He's taken out a couple in these past couple engagements. Blessed Spartans, I think, really in a bad spot right now. Blessed Spartan telling him that engagement is well played. Mad at his units. You have failed me again, he says. Stern Guards might go down here. They turned around briefly, but those Corn Marines gonna try to finish them off. Luckily, it didn't quite do the job. Lindonin now has only a couple squads. He did lose his scouts, but he's still got the Predator and the Terminators out there. Chaos Lord still hanging out, harassing Terminators. Did manage to take one out. Might be able to snag another one here, but there goes the teleport, and they're going to get out of there. Blessed Spartan being very vocal at this point in the game. Always entertaining. Lindonin bringing some scouts back onto the field and following it up with a second Predator. That's not good at all, and that's the problem, is in these longer games, if you don't shut down that Space Marine power income, and especially with the Apothecary, you really start causing some model losses. I mean, it's just the army's going to get stacked against you. I mean, he did lose a couple squads here, but he hasn't really been causing any bleed or anything like that either, so Lindonin's just been able to kind of restack his army after losing so much in the early game. 155 to 83. Lindonin's bringing it back, as he has been the past 10 minutes or so. using this Predator to amazing effect. Spartan just, I mean, he could have gotten a Siege Dreadnought, he could have gotten really so many, I don't know, I think he's just kind of allowed, he got cocky, I think, once he took the Razorback out and just is allowing this Predator to walk all over him.
There is the key to victory.
Capping his power back here, but I mean, he's got plenty of power. He doesn't hardly even need to worry about power. What he needs to worry about is his requisition. He's got plenty of red, though. He can drop an Imperial Abyss at any given time if he finds a good opportunity to get these Space Marines all locked up. He could drop it right now and phase shift those. There it goes, actually, yeah. But it was, I think it was a couple seconds too late. And actually, right here may have even been better, because then the tactical Marines would either have to retreat through the Abyss or stand there and fight Bloodletters. And as they are now, but I think those Bloodletters might actually take out the Stern Guards. They do have a Space Marine, knows no fear. He's knocking back all the Bloodletters, but they're still getting a couple hits in and take him out. That's a big win for Spartan, but I think it might be a bit too little too late. He's down to just 3 squads, 72 to 83. And there's a Predator, Terminator's Librarian, and Apothecary hanging outside of his base. Apothecary is fully upgraded with all kinds of goodies. Chaos Lord still never got that Dark Halo. So, I mean, there's a lot of energy I feel like is just going to waste with that Harness of Rage. Chaos Lord, a little ambivalent, not sure where he wants to go or engage. Kinda out there on his own with only 3 squads left. 2 melee squads and a ranged squad. That's just not going to be enough to deal with what's currently out here. Even though this is, I mean, this isn't even Lindonin's entire army at this point in the game. But it's just those 2 tier 3 powerhouses, along with the Apothecary, who's been leveling up very nicely himself. Has some combat stims, has the purification rights. He's just good to go, all things considered. Combat stims is very effective, and it's a pretty tricky buff to see. I think this is currently Inspire, that yellow circle on him, but it's that same graphic that is used for combat stims, so it's pretty tricky to spot. It's one of the more subtle effects. But yeah, I'm not sure if Spartan's going to be able to come back from this. He does finally have a Predator of his own on the field.
Our strength is restored.
But it's still looking pretty dire for the Chaos Army right now. Predators on the field. Lindonin sees it though, and he's not going to give it any chance. He's moving in both Predators to engage. Bloodletters are on the field, but even with those Corn Marines, that's not going to be enough to deal with both of those Predators right now. Corn Marines have to fall back. Siege Marines are firing at the Terminators, but there's just not enough AV power. And down goes the Chaos Pred. Oh my goodness. 31 to 83, and Spartan just had this game in the bag and let it go in the late game. Oh man. I feel bad because he sent me a pack of replays, and I casted this game, and this is apparently a game that he lost in, but it was a good game. Just kind of lost track of things towards the middle to end game and let it go. There goes an orbital bombardment right there on his base as the game ends. And Spartan drops his mega sad faces, but oh my goodness. What a game. Chaos had such a strong lead here early on, but Spartan just really allowed the tier 3 force to roll over him here. That Predator's level 4. The second one's already level 2. Everything else looking pretty good as well. Saw Bloodletters and Raptors. That's pretty uncommon, but it just didn't quite work out. He should have gotten a las cannon or something in general to just deal with these tanks. Bit of an oversight, but hey, happens to the best of us when we get into that late game kind of phase. You already feel like you've won. Oh, and it looks like that Chaos Lord finally got his Dark Halo. There he is. Looking nice and menacing with his big old claws. Librarian's about to get whacked in the back of the head there. Doesn't even see it coming. He was probably reading a book. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the game. Feel free, comment, subscribe, like the video, talk about the commentary, players, strategy, all that fun stuff. Don't forget where to send me emails. Red-Rupee20@gmail.com. Send those replays. Join the Facebook page, follow the Twitter feed, hop on the Steam group, all that fun stuff. Next week, we got the Throne of Skulls 2-on-2 tournament streaming live. Be sure to check that out, and I will catch you guys Next time